What is up, everybody? Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. It is the WrestleMania 41 Night 1 post show. It's your girl, Denise Salcedo, live from Las Vegas, Nevada. I am here right now at the Circa. Shout out to the Circa for having me, for hosting me here for WrestleMania week. It has been a very, very fun week. I got here Wednesday, and it's just been boom, 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 going to event to event to event. I was at the Hall of Fame last night. I've uploaded a bunch of interviews here on the channel that you guys can check out, and was at WWE World. I mean, it's just been nonstop. And I do have an after dark event to attend to here tonight. Now, with that being said, we got to get into WrestleMania 41 Night 1. Now, I'm just going to start off by saying that I was not the biggest fan of tonight's show. I kind of feel a little let down by a couple of the matches and things that we saw. And I have my match of the night. However, my match of the night, 3 different times I had a match of the night, but the bar was not that high, in the sense that I was just kind of going with anything that tickled my fancy. I would sort of run with that as my favorite. But 3 matches that I thought could be my potential match of the night just ended up having an ending that I did not like. And so, with that being said, I didn't think that there is one match that I am going to pick as my match of the night, and I'll get to that once we get to it. But I did not really think that there was a moment or a matchup that I would put in my, if I had a golden box with all of my favorite WrestleMania moments and my favorite WrestleMania matches, I don't know that I would have one from WrestleMania 41 Night 1 that I would put up in there. I really, really hope that Night 2 is a stronger show, because there was just a lot, in my opinion, missing from Night 1. I'm going to get things started with the triple threat match, which was the main event that we just saw out here. So now, mind you guys, I'm a CM Punk fan. I was rooting for CM Punk in this, and I had a feeling going into this show, I thought, we're clearly not going to get this happy ending of, oh, CM Punk goes to his first ever main event at WrestleMania and he wins the match, right? I know maybe it was asking for too much to also see that victory. So even though I wanted it and I hoped for it, part of me knew that it wasn't going to happen. And so, with that being said, heading into this main event, I started to see a lot of rumblings on the IWC world where people were like, hey, well, what if Paul Heyman goes and aligns with Seth Rollins, right? It looks like he's going to align with Seth Rollins. And it took a life of its own, where I felt like every single podcast, every single show that I was on, everybody was mentioning, hey, it might be a situation where we see Paul Heyman align with Seth Rollins. And truth be told, I did not like that idea from the moment that I heard it. From the moment that people were saying that Paul was going to align with Seth, I did not like the idea. And the reason I didn't like the idea is because I have said from the beginning, going into this matchup, that to me, the main event was between Roman Reigns and CM Punk. They're the ones that I thought were going to be the marquee matchup. They are the ones that I was like heart and soul invested in this, because you got 2 massive freaking stars in Roman and CM Punk, right? And so for me, like the beginning of the feud, I really felt like Seth Rollins was the third wheel in this. And there were times where on an episode of SmackDown, and I forget which week it was, but there was an episode of SmackDown where Roman Reigns had a confrontation with Seth. Oh, yes, it was in Chicago. And granted, of course, it was Chicago and everybody loves CM Punk in Chicago. It's his hometown. We know that. But when Roman and Seth were out there like talking it up and doing their thing, everybody was just chanting for CM Punk, because people only cared about the CM Punk Roman Reigns aspect. The last 2 weeks, they finally kind of pushed more for Seth Rollins. Like they pushed more in terms of including him more into the storyline, right? He had all of these promos where he's trying to brainwash, and clearly he succeeded in brainwashing Paul Heyman, right? And he wants Paul Heyman to understand that CM Punk does not have his best intentions in him, and that neither does Roman Reigns, and that in fact both CM Punk and Roman Reigns kind of use Paul Heyman, and that's what the message that he was trying to get across, right? And so for the last 2 weeks, they did do a good job of including Seth Rollins a lot more. And in the last 2 weeks, I started to feel like the rumblings of the rumors and the predictions of people online saying that Paul Heyman was going to go with Seth Rollins, I started to feel like that may actually come true. And so it's been several weeks now of this theory floating around, and not at one point did I ever love the idea of that. I just kind of felt like, why? I get the part that he's like, oh yeah, well, they don't really like you that much, Paul. Okay, you could argue that their relationship with Roman and Paul isn't perfect. The relationship with CM Punk and Paul isn't perfect. But I still feel like this was done for the sake of, well, we just need something to shock the people. That's what this felt like. This felt like this was them trying to just justify them having done the triple threat. This felt like this was them trying to justify including Seth Rollins into this feud with Roman Reigns and with CM Punk. So for me, I was not in love with this. But with that being said, I want to look at the pros. But before I get to the pros of that, though, I do want to say that the matchup, though, I did like the triple threat matchup. It was the best match of the night, this main event. Best match of the night. It got violence. They went out into the crowd. We had some really good moments throughout it, both in the ring, on the outside, table spots breaking, cool moments where they tried to do different things, like like Roman going into the spearing Seth trying to catch him for the pedigree, getting him with the stomp, CM Punk executing the GTS, CM Punk even mocking Roman Reigns and doing his ooh bit. There was a lot of different moments during this. And I think at the point, once we got to, for the majority of this match, Paul Heyman was not really involved until the very, very end of this. And once I started to worry a little bit, once we weren't seeing Paul Heyman get involved, because I'm like, yeah, at some point he's gonna. And the fact that we've waited this long for it means that it's gonna happen in the way that you don't want it to happen. And so when Paul Heyman gets that chair, and I thought originally that he was gonna throw the chair into the middle, and I thought we were gonna see like maybe Seth run in there and grab it before Punk and Roman. I thought maybe that was going to happen, where it's up to the person to decide who Paul Heyman was trying to hand over that chair, right? Trying to play both sides. That's what I originally thought was going to happen. But instead, they did this bit where he ends up throwing the chair to CM Punk. He ends up picking CM Punk. And that moment when he picks CM Punk is when we knew, okay, he didn't really pick CM Punk, and it's all over from here. And so the fact that CM Punk gets the chair, Paul Heyman hits him with a low freaking blow, and I'm like, that's it. It's over. We're done. We're cooked. This is it. This is some BS. And Roman is like laughing and he's smiling because he's thinking that means Paul Heyman is going to align with him. And the second you saw Roman Reigns smiling up, you're like, all right, Roman, buddy, you're also being set up right here. And unfortunately, Roman fell for the Paul Heyman trap that he set up. They set up a booby trap right there for Roman Reigns, and he took it. He took the bait. He fell for it. Paul Heyman gets down on his knees very slowly and hits Roman Reigns with the freaking low blow, and that helps freaking Seth Rollins get the win. I thought the one thing I also didn't like about this ending, I didn't like how long it took for Seth Rollins to go out there and pin Roman. I did not like how long it took, because at that point I'm starting to think, all right, a little sana colita de rana, and CM Punk should have been up by now to go break up this pin, right? Because he had been down from this low blow forever. We have seen a lot of low blows in pro wrestling, okay? I've given a low blow in pro wrestling. There's been so many low blows. I didn't think it justified him being down for that amount of time. I have seen people get low blowed and get up a lot faster to do something. So I kind of hated how long it took to get to the actual moment. So, but the match itself, though, the match I did love, the body of the match I did love. I did enjoy that. It was very, very cool on the emotional side. It was very cool to see CM Punk go out there and have Living Color perform his song Cult of Personality, and then having this vignette video package play beforehand with this fire burns as the song, and they're showing moments from CM Punk's career when he was younger, and really painting the picture of how long it took for CM Punk to get this WrestleMania main event. So here's the thing, I kind of talked about why I wasn't a fan of this. However, I am able to separate the me not being a fan from something and me seeing why they decided to do what they did. And I feel like Seth Rollins, this is probably the best thing that could have happened to Seth Rollins, because Seth was starting to get to a point where it was redundant, where we weren't really seeing anything new. We weren't really hearing anything new. Roman Reigns, he's a made man, guys. He's a made man. He's going to be going to Hollywood in the next few years. In fact, Roman already said that after WrestleMania 42, his contract expires and he's going to be here for maybe 1 or 2 years after max. Okay. So Roman Reigns is already starting to plant the seeds of him leaving and heading over to Hollywood. And so Roman, he's a made man. Okay, that's what he is. He was champion for 4 years. He's got the bloodline, the Ulafala, all of these things. He's a made man. CM Punk, on the other hand, is also, in a way, a made man too, because he generates buzz. He generates interest, same thing. He generates sales. People love to freaking cheer CM Punk. People love to feel either cheer CM Punk or boo CM Punk, right? The way that he moves merch, it's insane. You name it, right? He is a made man. He sells tickets. You're interested, and he's got a very devoted fan base, as does Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins, I want to give Seth Rollins credit, because I did think that with the actual matchup, like the physicality portion of it, I thought, and I did think that Seth Rollins was the MVP, in the sense that all of the best spots, all of the moments that I thought were the most exciting in the physical matchup somehow intertwined Seth Rollins. I almost felt like Seth was sort of the glue between Roman and CM Punk. So in a way, that also should have foreshadowed this ending, because of the way they had Seth Rollins almost always having his hand in every single cookie jar. And I say that in every single part of this matchup here. So I did think that, like, in hindsight, looking back at that should have also been a big sign saying, hey, Seth Rollins, he's going to get this win here, because he was all over this. Fingerprints were obviously all over this match. And so, yeah, I do think that Seth Rollins was MVP in terms of the physicality portion of it all. So I do want to say that. I also think that now with Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins, they're going to be so annoying together. They're going to be so annoying together. They're just going to, like, rub it in everybody's face about how they're a thing now. And Roman and CM Punk are not. And also the other reason why I didn't love this ending is because I see Roman Reigns and I see CM Punk as really cool guys, and them kind of being done dirty like this, I don't like them looking uncool. I don't know if I'm explaining this right. Maybe some of you guys might understand me, but just how long it took and how it made them look like they were just like goofs for falling for it. Roman Reigns is such a smart guy. Roman Reigns shouldn't be falling in these little traps. I am sorry. I don't like seeing Roman and CM Punk look even remotely uncool or look a little clueless in this. I did not like that aspect of it, because again, I think they're both very smart, and we've seen it because we hear it in their promos, we hear it in what they say, in the way they act, in the way that they portray themselves. Both very different performers, but they both carry themselves standing tall with chin held high, you name it. And so Now I'm wondering, all right, where do we go from here? How does this evolve? How does this go into what is next? What is the phase of this? What is this going to look like? Seth Rollins, again, now being paired with Paul Heyman, this was the best thing for him because Paul Heyman, as we all know, first of all, Paul Heyman is not trustworthy whatsoever. Do not trust this man. And Seth Rollins should probably go into this knowing that he's not going to be loyal to him. But Paul Heyman, as we know, is a mastermind in the skill of talking, the skill of communication. And I do think that Paul Heyman is going to elevate Seth Rollins' game. Like I said, he was kind of getting a little bit stale. And now with Paul Heyman in his corner, I mean, he's literally lit a flame in Seth Rollins. So, that is the pro for this. That's the pro. The pros are right now all feel like they're leaning on Seth's side. They so much is leaning on Seth's side in terms of the pros. Right now, I'm not really seeing too many pros for CM Punk and Roman Reigns, to be honest. If you got one, please send it in. Dang, guys. Dang it. I don't know how to feel about it. I know that I did not love it, you know? But with that being said, I want to get into some of the super chats and see what people are saying about this, and then we'll get into the rest of the show. We got McTaro here who says, I feel like Paul Heyman is about to have, oh, I already read that one. I'm sorry. We got Rob Herring Jr. here who says, why backflip the finisher for a few of these matches? Thank you, Rob Herring Jr. We got Mr. Grimley here who says, evil always wins. Mwah, ha, 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 ha. We got Uncle Donk who says, what? Did he win? We got Brandon Rosette here who says, WrestleMania 41 Night 1 gets a 5 out of 10 from the Canadian judge. Yo, that's pretty low. Yeah, it's pretty low. We got Uncle Donk here who says, hey, Paul, do me a favor. Can you punch in the nuts? God, and it's like, now CM Punk looks like a goof too for having asked Paul Heyman for a favor just for him to screw him. Oh, I hate it. We got Mr. here who says botching low blows is something Heyman must have learned from Tongaloa. I think Tongaloa instilled the fear in everybody of botching low blows. Like nobody wants to botch a low blow after having seen Tongaloa botch a low blow. It's like a new fear unlocked, I feel. Thank you, Mr. We got Kid Cudi here who says 7.5 out of 10. Good to great with one match disappointing me. Honestly, I think that's a very high rating. I don't think that I would rate WrestleMania Night 1 that high. Stephen Martrulli says, do they merge the stories to end Night 2? I hope not. I've said this from the very beginning. I don't want that to get jumbled in with John Cena and Cody Rhodes. But at this point, what I want does not matter. So to each their own, they're just going to go ahead and do anything to pop the audience. Like, that's just what it is. They're like, bro, what crazy thing can we think of to pop the audience, even if it totally doesn't make sense? We got well-rounded Leo who says, Paul joining Seth makes sense. Paul is better as a slimy heel, and Paul makes Seth more interesting. See, you said it makes sense, but then you said that it's because it's a slimy heel and he makes Seth more interesting. Making him more interesting makes sense in the way that, of course, it's going to help Seth, but to me, it doesn't really. I don't really see it that way. I don't see it that way. I see it as like, okay, this was done more. I don't see how this benefits Paul Heyman right now. To me, this only benefits Seth. To me, it doesn't feel like it benefits Paul right as of this moment. We got Tracy WV88 who says Jay and Jacob champs. Seth champs, chef kiss, so I'm happy. That's true. Tracy was wanting Jay and Jacob to win, so that's great. We got David Montalvo here who says Heyman traps guys more than a Kardashian. I'm dead. Okay, that is officially super chat of the night, David. We got Crew Kid 52 who says, hey Denise, felt this was an excellent night. One fave matches were the opener, the main event, and felt that El Grande Americano versus Fenix was great for what it was. Stand and Deliver was awesome too. Crew Kid 52, I'm glad you enjoyed the show. I do think that there was some misses in night 1, and I do think that they can do a better job for sure. I cannot call this, in all fairness, I cannot call this an excellent night 1. And I will break down the rest of the matches and why in a second. Thank you, Crew Kid 52. We got Andrew Cool who says, I think Cody turns heel WrestleMania 17 Austin, a la WrestleMania 17 Austin Vince. With Cody and John Cena, I feel like even though people were booing Cody Rhodes on SmackDown, I think that Cody has to stick with what he's doing for now. I don't know. Again, that's the one where I'm still expecting The Rock. I'm still expecting The Rock to get involved somehow into that WrestleMania 41 night 2 main event, but I don't think that Cody turns, only because I do think that would take something away from John Cena's heel turn. And so that's the only reason why I'm not totally on board with that idea. But at this point, every idea I'm not on board with happens. So if I'm not on board, chances are they're going to do it. We got JK here. Thank you so much for the super chat, JK. Very, very nice of you. I appreciate that, man. All right, so let's go ahead and rewind and run down this card. So Jey Uso versus Gunther. I thought this was a okay match. It was fine. Of course, it was more on the predictable side. Everybody knew Jey Uso was going to win, so it wasn't really like a huge surprise, which is fine because predictable isn't always bad. It would have been awful if Jey Uso lost, but they did a spot that I did enjoy during this matchup, where there was a moment where the referee had a very quick moment where he didn't look, and Gunther hits Jey Uso with the championship bout. I did kind of slightly fall for that. I did for a second think, okay, shit, maybe it's hard, right? Because I didn't fully believe that Gunther was going to defeat him, but I did have a slight hesitation, doubt in my mind for a minuscule of a second there. But Jey getting the victory here now. He's world heavyweight champion. Really cool to see him out there celebrating with his family, Jimmy included, afterwards. I thought that was freaking awesome. Now begins the chapter of Jey Uso. What is his world heavyweight championship going to look like? Because one of the biggest criticisms that Jey Uso gets, oh, and mind you, he won this via submission, which had a lot of people surprised, and a lot of people here in the chat were like, wow, Gunther tapped out really, really fast. And one of the things that I felt in this matchup is you kind of had to suspend your disbelief a little bit, because if you have seen Gunther wrestle other people, and I'm going to use Ilya Dragunov as the perfect example, because it's really hard, I think, for some people to buy Jey Uso defeating Gunther, only because we have seen Gunther in more gnarlier wrestling matches and have seen him rise above. Okay, you're talking about a long-term intercontinental, longest reigning intercontinental champion. So this man doesn't just lose like that, right? Like he's a difficult one to beat. And so I think the job that they didn't necessarily hit at with this match was really making you truly believe that Jey Uso, honest to God, completely defeated Gunther. I felt like there was still more left in Gunther in order to continue the pursuit of retaining his world heavyweight championship. But regardless, I guess all that didn't matter, because we all knew, hey, we're just here to see Jey Uso win, and we're just here to see Jey Uso get his moment and become champion. So congratulations to Jey Uso. And now, with that being said, his world heavyweight championship, I can already predict what people are going to be saying in the next couple of months. That they're going to be like, these matches aren't good or whatever. Why'd they put the title on him? Like, that's what like the conversation is probably going to be like, only because there is such a heavier spotlight when you are the world's heavyweight champion. And if you thought the spotlight on Jey Uso was already really big, it's gonna get even bigger now. But regardless, man, people love to eat, people love to have a good time with that. Next up, we had the tag team match for the world tag team titles, the New Day versus the War Raiders. I feel bad, but this was a Monday Night Raw match. I didn't think that there was anything too memorable in the body of this matchup here. This was a Monday Night Raw match to me. This was not a WrestleMania match. And the New Day won, which is what we expected to. So two championships that change hands that were expected to change hands. So not really too much of a surprise there. And so at this point, we're starting to see that, so far nothing too crazy was happening on WrestleMania night 1. We got a super chat here from Jacob Tatum, who says everything went the way I thought besides Heyman. Yeah, I'm gonna say for the most part I did too. I just feel like there were some matches that I thought could have been stronger, but all the championship belts that we expected to change hands changed hands, and the ones we didn't. Thank you so much, Jacob Tatum, for the super chat. We had Jade Cargill defeat Naomi. So this was another one that people were really looking forward to. I thought that we were I've seen Jade Cargill's career in AEW and now seeing her in WWE. In AEW, she kind of had like the same match over and over again, right? She had her streak. She was the longest reigning TBS champion, and she would go out there and have these like open challenges and wrestle, these different people. But for the most part, she never really strayed from the same formula of the type of match that she would have, right? And in AEW, my favorite match of hers was when she wrestled Sky Blue. And the reason I liked that match was because Sky Blue was really scrappy in the match. And so it kind of broke the mold or the formula that we were seeing from the Jade matches in AEW. So then she comes into WWE, and I'm thinking, okay, what is Jade going to look like in WWE? I know what she looks like in AEW. What is she going to look like here? How is she going to be different? Because clearly they're not going to go have her out there do a streak and singles matches like that and the same sort of formula. No, it's going to have to be different. And she was in the tag team with Bianca Belair, and Bianca really did a lot of these matches, Bianca was the one kind of doing everything. Jade would go in there, she'd have some cool moments, but it was really Bianca. And so when that ended and she got put through the windshield and they started the storyline with Naomi, everybody was wondering, okay, well, what is Jade Cargill going to look like in this singles match with, a massive WrestleMania audience and a story that people are invested in? And I thought this was Jade Cargill's best performance in a singles match kind of ever, because I think this one was even better than the one she had with Sky Blue in AEW, and that was my favorite one that she had in AEW singles match. I'm not talking about tag teams, because with tag teams it's different because Bianca was there, so I'm just talking singles wrestling matches. And so Jade Cargill, I thought she did great. Of course, Naomi pretty much, she was the one you can tell was running things, calling things, doing how she was the one leading Jade Cargill in this matchup. But that's fine. That's what you expected. Naomi's far more experienced. Do not doubt Naomi just because she hasn't had all of these accolades like your Charlotte Flairs or your Becky Lynch's or your Bianca Belairs. Does not mean that Naomi is not, fully equipped to lead someone into a good match. So Jade and Naomi, I thought were a fine matchup. I thought that this was probably the best you were gonna get, and it was good. I think for me, I had said this a bunch of times, but I wanted to see Naomi sort of win this, even though I knew she wasn't. I knew she wasn't because the story is for Jade. Jade would have looked super silly had she lost the match to a woman who threw her through a windshield. Now, I just hope that WWE sees what they have in Naomi, and I truly hope that they don't just stop promoting her. I want them to continue doing what they're doing with her, doing the vignettes, having her as a heel, showing all of this emotion in the ring. I want them to continue that with Naomi, and I hope they don't drop the ball on that just because this feud with Jade Cargill is over for the most part. Next up, we had Jacob Fatu and LA Knight. This was one that I was also worried about because I didn't want Solo Sikoa to like come in here and like ruin Jacob Fatu's moment. But for the most part, this was pretty damn straightforward. Jacob Fatu defeats LA Knight. He's United States champion now. I feel like this match, we've seen better Jacob Fatu matches in WWE. I did not think that this one was up there in terms of we've seen better. We have seen better from Jacob Fatu, and I like to stuff with Braun Strowman a little bit more, probably a lot more actually. But it was still a fine matchup. But again, it did not, at least to me, hit the WrestleMania caliber type of matchups that we were looking for. So Jacob Fatu, happy he won the United States Championship, and now I cannot wait to see him continue to go on and just tell great stories. I want to see him wrestle pretty much everybody on the show. Please just feed him all to Jacob Fatu. As for LA Knight, though, I wonder what's next for LA Knight. It doesn't feel like WWE. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but I don't feel like WWE right now is as invested in LA Knight as maybe they once were. And even if you consider that invested, because even for a while it didn't seem like they were truly all in on LA Knight. It felt like the fans were more in on LA Knight than the company actually was. And he did get some cool moments. Of course, he went off to face Roman Reigns, but everyone knew he wasn't going to win. So now it's kind of in a situation where LA Knight is, no longer United States Championship. We maybe not. He'll go up and face, Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes, I'm assuming, is going to lose to John Cena. Maybe LA Knight gets a match with John Cena as a quick challenge. Maybe. I don't know. But it's pretty questionable as to what is going to go down next with LA Knight. So I'm not too sure what his next steps are going to be. So that's going to be something to look at. We got Saif Den Super here, who says Jey Uso is the drunkest man in Vegas right now. Oh my God, is he really? That's so funny. We got Hip Clip 53 who says, I've seen all 41 WrestleManias. This night was not good. 4 out of 10. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like sometimes people want everything to be good, and just sometimes it's not going to happen. I have seen every single WrestleMania as well. I've talked about every single WrestleMania in depth. I've gone back and rewatched several WrestleManias. I don't think that this is a night of WrestleMania that I'm going to go back and watch, unless I do one of those marathon things where I go back and watch them all. Shit, if I could go back and watch the pandemic era WrestleMania, then I'm sure I can go back and watch anything at this point. But no, unfortunately, I do not think this one hits the mark when it comes to WrestleManias and WrestleMania moments. And that's actually not a knock. It is a testament to the legacy that which WrestleMania has already built itself upon, because we have seen some of the craziest, most coolest, best matches on WrestleMania. So the bar has been set very, very high. So I do hope that WrestleMania Night 2 for WrestleMania 41 is far better. We got Brian Dunlap here who says, do you give WrestleMania 41 Night 1 a yeet or a no yeet? I have to be fair. I have to give it a no yeet. Sorry, Brian. So no yeet for me on this one. With that being said, we got El Grande Americano defeating Rey Fenix. So this one was kind of, it's hard to describe because Rey Mysterio was supposed to be in this match with El Grande Americano, and I wanted to see that match. I love Rey. I want to see him with Chad Gable. I was expecting for an unmasking thing to happen. All of that, right? And unfortunately, Rey Mysterio got hurt on SmackDown. I didn't watch SmackDown, but I saw the news and I saw everything that was going on. And today it was announced that Rey Fenix would be Rey Mysterio's replacement. And I thought, oh shit, bro. I just spoke to Rey Fenix, and I put up the clip on my Instagram where you can watch it here on the YouTube channel. And me and Rey were talking about his brother Penta, who's scheduled for tomorrow's Intercontinental Championship match. We were talking about how happy we were that he was going to be getting a WrestleMania matchup, right? And we were like, oh yeah, maybe next year you're going to get your WrestleMania match, right? Like, I can't wait for you to get your match. Little did we know that he'd be only hours away from actually getting a WrestleMania match. So here's the thing, guys. Chad Gable's an extraordinary wrestler. Rey Fenix is an extraordinary wrestler. I think this match was far too short. I think they could have done so much more. However, everything that they did in this under 8-minute match was absolutely beautiful, in the sense that every little thing they did was technically freaking sound, technically crisp. And so even though we got not too much, everything that was done so well that I can't really complain about that portion of the match. The one thing I did not love, though, was the ending of the match with Rey kicking El Grande Americano while he had the freaking the metal plate in his mask. I did not like that ending, and it kind of made me get a little bit nervous as to how do I say this? There was a big announcement today that WWE acquired AAA, and it made me a little bit nervous seeing the booking of this match in terms of what that might look like for AAA. So again, I'm probably basing things too much off of this one match. I will say this, I was so freaking thrilled to see El Hijo del Vikingo. El Hijo del Vikingo being out there, it felt like a Twilight Zone type of thing, because we're seeing El Hijo del Vikingo out there in the front row watching this match with Rey Fenix, with Grande Americano, and then suddenly Dana White's there. It's just all these names and peoples and places in things you didn't really see coming, like maybe last year or 2 years ago or however long ago, right? And so it's one of those things where it's just like, damn, it's crazy how it's crazy all of the things that can happen in this business, right? It moves and changes are made and decisions are made and just things happen. And so for a match that was last minute, this was a good match, but it wasn't the ending that I did not enjoy the ending. And I'm assuming they went that direction. I kind of wanted to see Rey Fenix. I don't know what ending they had planned for Rey Mysterio. I had predicted it would be him unmasking Chad Gable, but I kind of hoped that they would just have Rey Fenix do everything that Rey was supposed to do, because Rey Fenix can most definitely he most definitely can be that warrior, that person that's going to stand up for Lucha Libre. He could be that person that says, hey, man, you're disrespecting my heritage by coming out here and making Lucha Libre into a mockery by dressing up as a luchador. And so Rey Fenix is more than equipped to do that exact same thing that Rey Mysterio was planning on doing. So, again, I don't know what the finish was supposed to be with Rey, but I kind of wish that they would have done the same thing with Phoenix. Going into this match, because if not, it just kind of turned out to be what it was. Now, if this was the finish that they had planned with Rey Mysterio, yo, what? I would have been mad too. So El Grande Americano is going to continue on, and Chad Gable looks like he's having a good time with it. We got Plus Ultra Adrian, who says night one was just okay for me, but I feel that energy wasn't really there. Not a bad show, but it's a no yeet for me. Right. It just wasn't a WrestleMania caliber show. I think if this would have been a different pay-per-view, if this would have been, I don't know, name me a pay-per-view that you guys don't really care about, but you watch. I don't know, Crown Jewel or something. If this would have been Crown Jewel, maybe it would have been better. I don't know why Crown Jewel's catching strays. Sorry, Crown Jewel. Sorry, Crown Jewel. But anyways, yeah, it wasn't WrestleMania caliber, and again, that's because we have seen such great things happen on WrestleMania. Adrian, thank you so much for your honesty and for your super chat. All right, with that being said, we got next up the last match that we need to get into, and that is Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. So, this one was interesting because when this match started, I was telling my chat, I said, hey, this has the potential to be match of the night right here. We have seen Charlotte have match of the nights. We've seen the last time she performed at WrestleMania against Rhea Ripley, WrestleMania 39, Los Angeles. She and Rhea killed it, okay? Killed it. And I remember just how happy everybody was and how everybody was saying, damn, that could have totally main evented, should have main evented. And they were having that conversation because of how well both of them did. We know how complicated things got between Tiffany and Charlotte heading into this matchup, right? This feud was messy. It got personal, it got heated. It was really kind of got ugly, right? But in a sense, that drove more interest, because when real life stuff bleeds out into the ring, we eat that shit up, right? We are for it. Like, the fans love to see it. We love knowing that there was this drama. We're gonna eat into it and we're gonna see what they do, right? And in this Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair match, I feel like I started to realize, so I was rooting for Tiffany Stratton to win, but I kind of wanted a different type of a match. I guess I wanted to see the underdog like go and fight back and prove that she is a force to be reckoned with, right? That maybe Charlotte underestimated her and that she should fear her as a wrestler, right? Instead, it was predominantly Charlotte, attacking Tiffany Stratton. It was predominantly Charlotte on the offense, whereas Tiffany Stratton basically got her butt whooped for the majority of this match. She did get a little bit of offense in there, going after the knee of Charlotte for a couple of times, but really nothing too extreme where I can say, oh, Tiffany Stratton did all of this. And so I kind of would have preferred to see Tiffany Stratton get to show more of her wrestling in this matchup. But here's the other thing, though. I think that the one thing that was also missing from this is that, or one of the things, two things. One thing I noticed during this match is that Charlotte had WrestleMania mode in her mind. I think Charlotte had, this is a WrestleMania match. I know what gear I have to kick into. I know what gear I have to be in to put forth a WrestleMania match because she's been here before multiple times. And this was Tiffany's first WrestleMania. And so I felt that throughout the entire match, Charlotte was trying to wake up Tiffany Stratton. I think she was trying to fire up Tiffany Stratton so that Tiffany Stratton could find that gear, that WrestleMania gear in herself and fire back in Charlotte. And I don't know that Tiffany Stratton found that same gear. I don't think she was able to get fully into the max of the anger, of the fire and the spirit that you get when you put on a match like this, right? And of course that comes with experience. I do think Charlotte looked like she was trying to get that at times, but there was just kind of it just wasn't happening. The other thing that I wanted to see more of is we saw Charlotte Flair play a lot to the camera. We were seeing Charlotte show her face, show her emotion, show her frustrations throughout almost every single point in the matchup. You as the viewer can say, this is what Charlotte's feeling. I can tell what Charlotte is feeling based off of this. I can tell Charlotte's feeling this. I wanted to see more of that from Tiffany Stratton, where I wanted to see more of her facials. I wanted to see more of what she was feeling, what she was going through, how she was going through all of this, just so that we can get a better idea and a better story from the matchup. So that was just another little thing. Again, experience, guys, experience. It was a different experience levels for Charlotte and for Tiffany. But the reason, so I liked most of this match, and I thought that it was going to be my match of the night for a second. However, I did not love the finish, and the only reason I didn't love the finish was because Charlotte had basically dominated this entire matchup, right? And I was waiting the entire time for Tiffany to kick into another gear and go in there and go after Charlotte and get her moments in and bam, 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 maybe hit her with a series of couple of moves, maybe go back and forth a little bit more, and maybe have Tiffany, really, really fire up and get her victory, right? No, instead it was like Charlotte, 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 and then hey, Tiffany Stratton hits prettiest moonsault ever. Bam, she wins this match, and I thought, wait, that's it, just like that, that's it, just the prettiest moonsault ever, and it's over. Puts the prettiest moonsault, over a whole lot, but I did not think it was enough to keep down Charlotte at that moment for Tiffany to win. So it felt like it just happened just like that. And so for me, it didn't feel like a finish to a WrestleMania matchup. And that is where I kind of had the disconnection between this matchup. That's where I had the disconnection with this matchup, where I did not love it based off of that. I already talked about the main event, so there you go, guys. That was night one of WrestleMania 41. Night two, I'm really thinking could be the night to not miss. I really hope they deliver, because if they don't, then it'll just be like, what the hell, dude? Like, this is WrestleMania and nobody delivered. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Night two, I have higher hopes for night two, which is crazy because I remember in the beginning, everybody was talking about night one and how night one looked like the most stacked. But night two, I think will deliver, because again, you have the women's triple threat match, Io, Bianca, and Rhea. There's no way those girls put on a bad match. The other match that I'm really looking forward to that I think will be good is the Fatal 4-Way for the Intercontinental Championship. I think that one's going to have a fun matchup. Hopefully we see Braun Breaker spear the life out of somebody. I think even though we don't like Logan Paul and he gets so much heat, I do think him and AJ Styles will have a pretty damn fun match. And the match I'm also really looking forward to, the Sin City Street Fight, Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. I'm almost 99.9% certain that may be my match of the night. And then with Randy Orton and the to be announced surprise element of who he's going to be facing, I think that is also going to draw some more interest, obviously, in who that might be. And then, of course, Cody Rhodes and John Cena, and John Cena's final WrestleMania match. So, based off of this, I do think night two has it easy for them to make it a far better, stronger night based off of what we saw here today. And I think that's about it, guys. That was WrestleMania 41 night one. I can't believe it. As for me, I have to go to the After Dark event right now. So I'm going to get dolled up, clean myself up, not look a mess, not look like I've been sitting down for hours. But I'm gonna go to that. I've been posting tons of content here on the channel. I did a WWE Worlds live stream. If you guys want a full raw walkthrough of what it's like to be a WWE World, I did that. I also uploaded 11 interviews, which you can find right now. One with Randy Orton, Charlotte Flair, Penta, Ray Fenix, of course, before he knew he was going to be at WrestleMania, and several others. So please check those out. Give those some love. It would really, really help me out a whole lot. And that's about it for me here today. Please continue to check out the WrestleMania content. If you enjoyed the watch along or the stream or any of that, please also make sure to click that subscribe button. And I will see you guys back here tomorrow for WrestleMania 41 Night 2 coverage. Bye, everyone. Take care.